Happy New Year, everyone. Ha ha ha! What a revolting year 2020 was. Marching on to 2021. Hey, 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 hey. How are you all? My name's Quinlan. Welcome to the first episode of 2021 of Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. I've never really stopped. I fell asleep on the couch last January. That was one that I missed. On one of those hot days. It was so hot, I could cook things in my pants. Anyway. And what it is, I'm acting the fool, but what a year. Come on. Revolting. But through it all, I think a lot of people found out a bit about themselves. People that the people that at one time you put a bit of faith in, and then the other people. There it is there. Oh, I was a bit slow off that one. Chris just got the in there. Anyway, I thought I'd just play around with a couple of things tonight. I've got my triggers back. I've got Doris back. One of the beautiful things that did happen in 2020 was me getting to know the wonderful Barnett brothers, Alan Randell, Susie Cupidol, everybody at the Alex Theatre. That was a real surprise. As I said at the time, I was ambushed. And it's just glorious what's been going on there. And whatever they've been trying to do, of course, we've, one step forward, two steps back. We had to, the second lockdown locked us down, then we came out. And I thought, when the second lockdown finished, I thought, well, we'll see what goes on and all that sort of stuff. It was fantastic. I never take anything for granted and all that sort of stuff. But the first people on the phone was Simon Barnett, and my right-hand man, Tim, out there, and all that sort of stuff. And we were knocking about just before the restrictions. We had the eve of New Year's Eve, where we were, caught up for their birthdays, their respective birthdays. Happy birthday, boys, that kind of thing. And they were the first people on the phone. You coming back in? Oh, sure, in a week. When do you want me in? Friday. This was Wednesday. I said, oh, okay. And there you go. And my one-take Charlie mate, Scott Hayward, and I managed to do a show together there towards the end of the year. And now that it's the new year, we're hoping like crazy that all the other beautiful people that have been on the show and been doing clips all through the year and all that sort of stuff in lieu of the gigs and all of that stuff, can get a Guernsey, and everybody else as well, sort of thing. That's what Alex Rocks is all about. And let's hope we can get something like that going. Okay, there it is. Now, what I might do tonight is talk about composition, actually. Okay, sort of thing. I was thinking, well, I've done that. Should I do? Oh, I've done that one. Because 2020, the revolting year, was my 25th year on community TV. I think we've got about 6 months left before we have to start fighting again. I don't know why. We're not getting funded by anybody, so who are we trying to hurt? That kind of thing. And we're on a day where, it's a bit of a bittersweet kind of thing, the fact that we've got a new year, but at the same time, the old COVID's broken out again a little bit, and we're wondering what's going on, all that stuff. And I live with these bandanas now with the little filter inside, sort of with the mask and all that. Make them a fashion statement. Be a bandit. Why whinge? Make it something. And what happens is I'm going to talk about composition now. Now, what goes on is one of the things about composition is that it can spring forth from anywhere at all. Okay. I sit here sometimes and I have, when I'm with Doris, when I'm at the Alex Theatre, I've got Delilah, the white drum kit, the white PDP. And, but when I'm here, sort of thing, this is the lady of the show, Doris, the D-Dub, since 1997, all that sort of stuff. So it's, on the way to 24 years now. That's all. Is that doggy years or drummer years? Is it the same? Is she now like by 7? So is that like something like the grand old girl's 100 and something now? I don't know. Whatever the years is. Anyway, it's 1997. And she served me well, and I think she served DW well as well. She's the most incredible thing. And I do love her dearly. And what it is when I sit behind Doris and she goes, what the bloody hell are we going to do today? Sort of thing. I have my computers with my little triggers, which, have I talked to you about that in the past? But what happens is sometimes when I come out and start to try and find, what the hell am I going to do now? That kind of thing. Is that I'll sit down and I'll set up a patch. And I've got an interface unit here that has 20 patches. And I've got the modes, I've got some fancy things. I've got the Shostakovich notes, with which Marcus Sastamoinen, if you're out there, hello mate. What are you going to do? It's a song called Goat. Is that what it is? Greatest of all time or something, but he's done that. And of course, lots of other things. So I'll set something up, and at the moment I've got my European folk kit. Can you hear that there? There's that. And then... did there, what the hell was it, was I got there's these beautiful sounds, and what I'm doing here is I'm using the GarageBand patches, and I bought all these sounds a long time ago, about a dozen years ago, and there's this one, listen to this. That sets you up. Gong. That's the, sorry about that, I got my drums mixed up. Just start off. That's the B section. Flans. Contrasting section. And when I just want the patches, I hit the rings. Isn't that the same as Hawaii Fire? Booking Dano, Murder 1. And that's it. Now, did you see what I did there? Look at this. Listen to this cymbal here. Goes flat like that. You know what I've got here? I'm not sure if Bunnings are going to get into the drumming business here, but that's a hanging pot plant chain, okay, that I've clipped together. And these are the Meinl Benny Greb cymbals, which are beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful cymbals. Yeah, listen like that, with the hats. And then you've got this. Oh, beautiful. But if you put the old little thing here, straight on, straight off. One of the little tips that I'll also talk about when you're composing and thinking of different things and working with time and working with the ADSR. I learnt this very early on in orchestration studies once upon a time, and synthesizer programming. ADSR is attack, decay, sustain, and release. So what happens is that if you've got a long ringing cymbal like this one that, say, goes forever, or the bell even more, just keeps on going, there you go. You work with that. You know, you'll come in, you can hear it like it's still going, like that. But when you put one of these little chains on, falls off a cliff. So that's great for... Then you can crash, you can piggyback. So what I tend to do with composing, and I'm composing stuff for both the drum kit and then for all the spoken word that we've done through 2020, the revolting year, and all that sort of stuff. What happens is that what you try and do is go. You know, Alan Zavod told it to me. Go. At some point, you've got to go with what you got. This is what I got, you know, sort of stuff. And one of the things about that is you think, well, what is this sound? Okay, so you get that. So if I do that, see? Can you hear that? Oh, a bit of wash in the background there. Hello, boys. And what happens with that is that my tempo is actually dictated to by the length of the ring. You see, that's what can start to go on. So once you've got that going, you can start to work things up. You see, so if I'm going to go... Now there's a tempo right there. And there you go, you see, so you've got the shuck dinny da and shuck dinny da da boom biddy da da dry cut off. Now, where does this come from? Okay, this is my actual real version of the gated crash sound that started to happen with Peter Gabriel in the early 80s, along with Phil Collins. The gated Phil Collins drum sound, you know, that kind of thing. All right. I can feel a gorilla in the Cadbury chocolate ad. Oh, yeah. Remember that one? Lame. But what goes on is the fact that when you're doing things like that, that was one of the great sounds of the 80s. Now, who remembers Power Station, right? With the lads from Duran Duran with Oh, I've forgotten his name. Oh my God. I've got him. Anyway, Power Station. I do believe the drummer was Tony Smith, I think. I think it was Tony. I have to go check. Some like it. Robert Palmer, thank you. I just had to. Some like it hot. And that was just that. You didn't even have to do it. It was like gated. See, I'm working with that now, you see. Composition, you go with what you got. That kind of thing there. And then what I do is when I'm sitting down and working out triggers, I'm working out sounds for some kind of soundscape for perhaps some of the stuff that Magda Williams and I were doing throughout the year. Hope we still can. And all that sort of stuff. But I would actually get a piece of music, like something I prepared earlier, and work it in. You know, I like to try and find something, sort of with dear Michelle Kay. Hello, Michelle. Happy New Year. There you are. But what it is she with Andrew Marshall. How are you? And all that with Marcus again. We were going down the track of Nordic adventures and all that, the Vikings and all this sort of stuff. And what happens is that with that, I would try and find sounds to complement Michelle's words. And when we were doing that, like a spoken word, like even into a story, all that sort of stuff. Even at one point, Shag and Malone got a little bit of a Guernsey there. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I missed my cue. There we are, Shagger. Anyway, there you go. So what happens with that is that when you're actually working things up like that, you go with what you got, you see, and that kind of thing there. So what happens is if I'm going to take, say, the snares off, do that, have a drone, low Celtic drone that is, and then, you know, I can change things up a little bit, you see. So if I'm going to go Celtic, I would take this and I go to orchestral harp patch. And if I'm going to get a little bit theoretical with you, Celtic music is often in the mixomatosis scale, okay, more commonly known as the Mixolydian mode, which has a flat 7. How dare drummers know about stuff like this? But what goes on is that if I've got that... One of the things about Celtic music is that it's usually in a kind of a duple time, and just like marching. Marching, you've got two types of tuple time. You've got 2/4 or 6/8. Now I'm playing in 6/8 here. Sounds like triplets, doesn't it? 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. But really, what I'm doing here, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. one of the things about cymbals is that I often use a little term called empty sounds. Because if I'm doing double paradiddle, but then I'd second guess myself then. Anyway, if I put that in, you can hear the whole roll, you see. But if I put in a cymbal, you're just hearing the rhythm of the left hand really there, especially with mallets, because the mallets take away the attack, the aforementioned ADSR, attack to case sustain release them. And what happens is that you're hearing so the left hand now is that part of the melody. And the right hand is creating the fundamental. In other words, the chord, if you will. My bass drum is the root note. In this instance, it's G. And the bass drum there is sometimes called a bembe bass drum, African rhythm. But I just sort of, sometimes, it's also there in Celtic music. You have that kind of... And if I go over here, I have the bowron. It's spelt like bodran, mate. And what you do is you have that. And what my bass drum is doing... with the tipper, you see this is a tipper, it's a two-headed mini drumstick and with a little weight fulcrum in the middle, and you hold it like a pen sort of thing, and a mate of mine, I haven't seen him for a while, but Kyle Meldgaard is fantastic at this. Hi Kyle, if you're watching. And he can get the whole whittly sort of thing. I nearly had it down when I was practicing it. And some people are wizards with that. But what happens is you take the bowron and the bowron rhythm, and what you do with it is apply it. A bit like Latin bass drum and things like that with the surdo rhythm. Roll your R for that one, Chris. And what happens with that? You get that. I was going a bit too cool for school there, Chris. Note to self. And what happens with that is that you get that kind of thing. Let me get into a little bit more here. Hang on one sec. Oh, my plugs, the plugs. So you get that. So when it goes like that, you see. And what goes on then is that I've explained 6/8 in a big way, but one of the things is in Celtic music you have jigs and reels, and a jig is in compound duple time, 6/8, and then when you're having you're doing a reel, take it out, I think. One and a two, and a one and a two. Double, single, double, and that's it there. And that's simple duple time, which is 2/4, 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. There you go. You see. So when I'm putting things together, that's what I start to work towards. I go with what I've got. You see, and what happens is when you dealing with this kind of stuff, one thing can work with another, you see. So there's all that sort of business. I suddenly thought of you, Nick Cushion, and all that stuff, and all that business. I know I'm jagged on it. Maybe that's a New Year's resolution, is not to say it, but it sort of died hard after a quarter of a century. And what goes on? When I'm putting a solo together or anything like that, I really do make it like a composition. And so what happens is that when I'm dealing with song forms, such as binary form, A, B, A, B, of which the most popular binary form song is Buddy, you're a boy is the A section. Man, some big mud on your face. B section. We will rock you. Maybe put that back up here. I don't know. Let's see what happens with that. Oh, sounds like a crash. Anyway, there it is there. So I'll experiment, you see. I'll see what comes up. I know why, because it's still mixolydian mode. How about if I try that now? Oh, there you are. Buddy, you're a boy, man. Man, someday you got mud on your face. Big disgrace. All over your face. And we will rock you. We will rock you. That's more like it. If only Shagger was here to do it. Anyway, I did that. We're talking about 2020, but I can actually tell you that probably 2019 was a worse year for me because I lost my last brother. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because what got me out of it, what got me out of that deep, dark hole was playing that for Jonathan Welsh of the Choir of Hard Knocks at Federation Square. That was the first gig back. And I'll never forget him for that. And all that sort of business sort of thing. That. A lot of shit hit the fan on the revolting year. But we're through it now, you see. So what happens is when you crack a joke, you can laugh harder. When you see someone you love, you hold them tighter. And what happens with years that we've just had, you can have so much fun if you know how to work it the right way and all that sort of stuff, because it's a little bit like, The Vikings with Tony Curtis, when Tony Curtis and Kirk Douglas were both in love with Janet Leigh and all that sort of stuff, and it's like the love triangle and all that. And one of the old ladies at the village said, love and hate, two horns on the same goat. And I'm trying to make light of it, but I'm not really, you can tell, can't you? That's how we fight. That's what it is. You do all this shit. Composition. You write your way out of it. See, never lets you down. Bunny, doesn't it? Play a paradiddle in Bunnies and we'll beat it by 10%. Anyway, there you go. I'm already over, but you know that I do that all the time. Anyway, I didn't know whether I was going to do a Facechook tonight, because it's usually the domain of the Alex Theatre and all that are within and all that. And I'm not sure what's going to happen in the new year, because I'm playing in that incredibly gorgeous foyer. And of course, the Alex Theatre has to be a theatre. And maybe in a couple of weeks it'll be a bit of fun when I'm doing a Facechook Live, surrounded by people slurping their bubbles before they go in and see a show, a socially distant show. Hello, I'm your entertainment this evening. Do you know a girl from Ipanema? No! Girl from Ipanema goes walking down, oh, wow. It's New Year's. I'm doing this sober. Ooh, wow. Book him, Dano. Murder one. Sorry about that. I forgot where I was there for a second, camera two. Sorry about that. Sorry, bloke. Anyway, there you go. I suppose I should start to think about wrapping it up now that I'm going loopy. But I hope you got something out of that. Let me go through the song forms. I've already told you about Celtic music and whatnot. And the whatnots, that's Ron. Are you watching, Ron? Hello, I hope we're doing more clips this year. Anyway. So what happens is that when you're doing things like that, Celtic music, you've got your jigs and your reels, you work with that. And timing-wise, it's so often in duple time, okay? Even though I'm acting the goat, Pum and Boom Tish. Anyway, but because I'm acting the goat, what I am trying to do is pass along a couple of little things, tidbits of actual theory and shit. And what happens is that with jigs and reels, a jig is in 6/8, which is compound duple time. Look it up. And then you have a reel, which is usually in 2/4. Do you see? Then you can have a slip jig. And a slip jig's in 9/8. It's compound triple time. There's a little slip. Okay, so there you go. And there you have that. And as well as that, you're getting those kinds of things from the Balron, the aforementioned Balron there. And when we're starting to do things like the girl from... that comes from a Serdal rhythm, which I mentioned before, and it suddenly occurred to me that I didn't explain it. What happens is you usually have something that looks like a floor tom, except it's built lighter, shoulder strap around here like that, and you can use it like a floor tom, and you get that kind of... Now you can't quite see it here live, but as you know, with a bit of editing, I'll have the 4-camera shoot up later on, but I'm going to put it up here for you. You see, you get that. I had a lovely lady on doing the Apollo Bay Music Festival back in the 90s, and I said, "What are you doing up there?" I was filming it for Channel 31. And she said, "It goes like this." So I hopped up on the flatbed truck, and she showed me how to do it. It's wonderful. And what it is you've got 1, 2, and 3, and yeah, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and open, closed. You see, when we have open and closed hi-hats, don't forget that in some musics you can have open and closed drums. You see, so that kind of thing there. And if I'm going to go on that, if I'm going to start to finish off, and I'm talking about different compositional techniques, when you're doing a ring click, don't forget the great Bernard Purdy, like, using his fingers, right? So you've got the John Bonham, Snizzle, Mr. Bernard. So simple. I've gone, what's he doing there? How's he getting there? Oh, man. That's what it is. It's just... sounds pretty cracking. There you go. See? There you have it. Oh, I'm out of here. I'm going to head off now. Have you had a good sort of... It was a bit of a fizzer of a New Year's night. I was holding on to Marley the pooch, Ali's dear little pooch there, because he gets a little bit, like so many pets, get freaked out with all the fireworks and stuff. And in my area, all we had was pump, pump, pump. Marley and I looked at each other and said, "That's it? God help me." That kind of thing. And then went back to sleep again. That's how lackluster last night's New Year's Eve was. Anyway, there you go. There's a few places I might have been able to go, but at the end of it, it was a bit of a sting in the tail that the restrictions are back up. But anyway, we've all got to do it. Like I said, put your mask up, act like a bandit, make it a fashion statement, okay? It's here, and there's no use grizzling about it. Just do it, and then we'll get out of it quicker. Okay, there you go. Happy New Year. I'm not going to get on my soapbox again. What have I done? I've mentioned Power Star. I might go put on the old vinyl. I've got that on vinyl. Some like it hot, off the cliff. There you go. So, here's the 2021. Oh! Love you all. Here's to 2021. We're getting everything done. And all the beautiful people, at the Alex Theatre and all the beautiful people we've been doing clips together. I hope we can keep on going with all that. And take care. I'm out of here.